Welcome to the Racer Insider Show, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Travis Turner. My man, the Racer Insider, Lindy Suter, with us. It is episode 7 overall. It's episode 1 of 2026. It's also our first episode of the Missouri Valley season that finds the Racers now 4-0 after a big road win against UIC last night. And Lindy and I will probably open up talking about the fact that conference championships are unlocked by tough, hard-fought road wins, and that certainly was one last night. It hung in the balance into the final minutes. The Racers finding a way again to stay perfect in league play. That'll be challenged by Bradley on Sunday. Need a big Racer crowd out for that one. And by the way, folks, that is a rare doubleheader opportunity. The men going at 4, the ladies will follow also against Bradley, and we hope they'll still be undefeated in league play. They go tonight on Friday night against Illinois State. They could also use your support, but we'll get right to it. But first, Lindy, we want to thank you guys at Suter Insurance Group for presenting the Racer Insider Show and all kinds of things offered there by your team, which folks can reach online at SuterINSgroup.com. That is SuterINSgroup.com, and by telephone at 270-753-5842. Happy New Year to your team at Suter Insurance Group. What's going to be going on with your gang coming into 2026?
Well, we started it off, everybody about halfway sick, Travis. I don't know. Hopefully it'll get better than that. But anyway, but we're a tough group, and we've got a couple of them in today with us. So, they're battling it. And yeah, we've got a really good team. And, one thing I want to just mention real quick is that nobody likes to talk about is life insurance. Nobody wants to talk about life insurance because for some reason they're not going to be the ones that ever die. They're going to live forever.
I'm not, Lindy, but go ahead.
But what I want to stress too, because probably a lot of our listeners are probably, we got all ages involved here. But if you're in your 40s or in your 30s, you need to really be looking at it now and trying to lock it in while you're in good health, because health can change at any time. And there's lots of options on policies. I know I bought one on my wife that I particularly really like, because this particular policy which was offered by Erie will not only pay for if you have a death, but it'll also pay if you need like care, home care, long-term care. Right. So you can use that death benefit to apply toward that. And that's a big expense if a family's never experienced it. It really, really is. So that's something I think, and you're not thinking about that when you're in your 40s, but that's when you need to be thinking about it. That's when the premiums are lower. That's why you're in good health. That's why you can purchase it. And, it's something for some reason. Everybody's got auto, they got homes, they cover their boats, they cover their motorcycles, but for some reason they fail to cover their own self. And I think you really need to pull out your policies that you have, because there's been a lot of new policies that are out there that you can offer now. And we even got one here with Erie that if you have an auto or homeowner's policy with us while you're here on the spot with about 5 questions, if they're answered properly, we can give you life insurance on the spot. You don't have to run from that nurse chasing you around the house with a little needle. I had a real good friend of mine, big old boy, offensive lineman. He applies for life insurance. The nurse shows up to take his blood. God, he ran from her. He ran from her. I thought, you got to be kidding me. But anyway, no, in all seriousness, and we got Martha here who has years of experience with life insurance. We can shop it to different markets to fit your needs. So, but I'll stress that going into the new year.
Thank you, my friend. Appreciate all the advice and wisdom there. We talk a lot about Lindy, how long he has been a Racer fan. Of course, now 60 years he's been supporting the Racers. But how long as an insurance agent now?
August 1st, 1981 is when I got my license. Last week, I had to get my 6 hours of real estate in before the end of the year. I did it. And but what was kind of wild about that, because that's where I started in 1979 in real estate, corporate realty, and I got recruited into the insurance business. But I looked at the last thing; it was May 25th of 1979. So I was 21 years old, and
at this point, we feel like you've seen a thing or two.
I kept them forced because you don't ever know when you might need them when
right.
So, but anyway, and now it's just okay. It's been so long, I want to keep it going. But yeah. kind of a
Well,
neat.
last night, I know you had to need a little bit of pacing insurance because it was tight and it was tough, as it tends to be on the road in conference play. But I know you're thrilled at the ability these guys have shown to find ways to win basketball games when it gets really hard.
Yeah, and boy, what a good quality that is. I got another little story to tell. Howard Boone can tell it, but back in the days when these games really mattered and they got close, and we've talked about the trash can. Remember the trash can I go visit? Trash can got visited against SIU. 8:52 to go. Lindy is at the trash can in the West End, and I'm pacing because I'm really nervous about that game. And then I think when JJ hit the three from the corner, I was on my second lap. So from the 8-minute mark to the whatever when JJ hit it, I was right in that corner when he hit it. That's where I had made it around to, and ventured down to my seat. I think maybe when there was about 11 seconds, 12 seconds to go. So if you ever
Just to make sure,
if you ever see me disappear, just look up in the West End by the trash can, or you may see me sprinting around the track. And then last night I did something I ain't never done. Of course, I've got this torn rotator cuff, so I can't really lift anything. And me and my buddy Steve, his cousin, was watching the ball game in my upstairs room. And so I said, Steve, I need you to go downstairs and get the trash can. He said, what? I said, yeah, I can't pack it up and we really need it right now. So he goes down and grabs the trash can, brings it upstairs and sets it in between me and him. And we pull out the win.
hey, whatever works. That might have helped that big three that Javon Jackson made late. That may have helped him go in.
Yeah, good for him too, because going back playing against, I was two things I was really worried about going into that game. One was I thought it was a trap game. I knew they were going to be competitive. I mean, they're in the Missouri Valley. They're a competitive team. They showed they can be competitive. And they had a little point guard that killed us last year, and I was already worried about him going into the game. And then it was 8 o'clock game on New Year's Day in Chicago. Probably, I don't know. What do you think the attendance probably really was there? 1,000, maybe 1,200. I don't know.
Yeah, it was sparse.
It's not very good, and you know how that is. And I just kind of felt a little uncomfortable about that. And then Javon, you're either going to feel a little pressure there. You're either going to go back and just have a great game, or you're going to feel a little pressure about going back and playing. Plus, another thing, there's probably nobody that we play against knows Javon's game any better than the coach from Illinois Chicago. So he absolutely knew, he knew how to scout Javon. And he got a little rattled, but hats off to him, man. He bounced back there at the end of the game. He made the big shot, the open three, and he also the phone's ringing this morning, Travis.
Hey, people know you're home.
I hope that's a good thing. And then he got that steal. That steal was huge. And then hats off to Mason hustling down the floor and getting that putback, because that was the game winner, really. That play right there, it was the game winner.
Well, and Lindy, one of the qualities that I like about Javon is he's just a next play kid. I mean, you could tell out of the gate, obviously, that how much the game meant to him. The fact that he wanted to put on a show, he wanted to show UIC what they were missing, obviously, understandably. Maybe force some things early, but he's a competitive kid, and I think the kind of what he brings to the table has been at the core of their ability to withstand other clubs' runs and some tough moments. And so making big plays down the stretch. Mason's play was huge. He also buried a big three in transition there as the game sort of hung in the balance. Obviously, though, we would have to start in terms of impact with Fred King on the glass last night. 9 offensive rebounds, part of a 16-rebound package for Fred.
I'm sorry about the phone ringing. I guess when you got 2 out and you got 2 out there and we got 4 lines. So
well, you need to answer that.
I know, but I'm afraid I might not know the answer. I'm kidding. Go ahead.
Well, just Fred's impact, Lindy. I mean, to have a presence, both the ability to finish in the lane, to have a guy you can go into the well to, but what he did on the glass last night, obviously, just the extra opportunities with the 9 retrievals on the offensive glass, a huge part of just anytime momentum kind of got stuck. UIC got on a run. Seemed like Fred got the basketball, got something done with it.
Yeah, he really did. He was really stout last night. He was able to play 31 minutes. He only played 3 minutes in the first half against SIU. And, I think getting Fred out there, if he can play 30-plus minutes, he's going to put up some numbers. He had some nice block shots that were big in the game, too. I think he had 3, didn't he? But, yeah, when we can get that ball into him and he's got – because one thing old Fred can do, he can get up there and flush it, and he can do it pretty quick. He's got to get that ball up because, boy, when he gets it, they attack him. I mean, you saw last night they were in there just trying to, get the ball away from him. And hats off to Fred, too. He hit 2 huge free throws in that game.
Yeah, those came at a very, very critical juncture. And, of course, all of those things are key to winning games like this.
2 games in a row, I mean, we have really been solid at the free throw line down the stretch. Me and you both know over the years that ain't always been the case. I mean, Lane Taylor hit a couple of big free throws there too, and I think we hit the front end of our 1-and-1s.
Well, Lindy, 19 of 22, 14 of 16 in the second half.
I think 3 of the most important possessions in each half, because that's six possessions, is the front end of that 1-and-1. Because if you don't hit it,
it's so much opportunity.
That's why I've always said they need to do away with it. And if it's a foul, you just get 2 shots, because you can be going in for a wide open layup and somebody hack you and you got to go hit a free throw. It's actually penalizing the offense more than it is the defense, in my opinion, but that's just not his thing.
Well, and I think you'll see that. It's weird that men's basketball has been a holdout in so many ways, because with women's basketball joining the rest of the world going to quarters, and when you get to the penalty or the bonus, it is 2 free throws. And so I think in time that will come to men's basketball again. I'm not sure why it hasn't, but either way, again, the critical ability to score from the foul line when the field sometimes goes dry, it's a huge thing. And last night was a free throw shooting clinic really for both clubs, but the Racers able to convert 19 of 22. Again, it was 14 of 16 and in the second half, and not a ton of volume from 3, which we'll talk about that in Missouri Valley play in a minute. And not a great shooting half in the first half from deep, just 3 of 11, but 5 of 13 in the second half. And because they continue to defend the 3 with such fervor, they end up winning the 3 category. They win it 43-33 plus 10 there on a night you win by 4.
That's exactly right, Travis. I was watching that stat all night long, and that's what had me concerned in the first half. We weren't getting to the free throw line, and they were. And the little point guard that is so quick and really hard to stay in front of, I mean, he gets fouled a lot, and he is a great free throw shooter. In fact, we were fortunate he missed a couple last night, and we're probably fortunate that he fouled out of the ball game too.
Very much so.
He put on a really good performance last night. I was very impressed with him. Out of all the opponents I saw eyeball-wise, he was a tough little dude. I mean, he really was.
He's such a change-up because he's underneath you as a ball handler. He creates a lot of havoc with his ability to fly around defensively, and a great facilitator and scorer for them last night. It was an impressive performance. And to go back to where you started about, the trap game, I think that's something that, the rankings are what they are, and it doesn't matter what computer set you're looking at. Obviously UIC has had a lot of tough luck in late game situations. That was not a unique thing for them last night this season, to be in the ball game but not be able to close it out. But theirs is a club that's not going to be particularly respected by those kinds of rankings. But physically, when you watch them last night, they certainly passed the eye test. There's no doubt that they belonged on the floor with Murray State. And they did what I think everybody in the league is going to do, Lindy. It's kind of going to be, as I told you, as we were preparing this morning, opponents are going to come with a wrench in one hand, tire tool in the other, because I think people recognize the talent and the firepower of this Murray State team. And the Racers are going to have to be ready to be clutched, grabbed, beat up. There's a scouting report that's going to make sure that you're not allowing Mason Miller clean 3 looks. You're either going to deny him the catch or you're going to run him off the line. When Braden Shorter comes in the game, you're going to do the same thing. You're going to crowd Lane Taylor. You're going to try to force him under the traffic. You're going to try to get Fred off the post and send hard doubles at him. And in the half court, if you're there a lot, it's going to be tough. And I thought UIC executed their plan really well last night. And along with Henderson's star performance, it was a legitimately tough basketball game in every way.
Yeah, and I also thought they were very, very, very well coached team last night.
Yeah,
I mean,
I agree.
Ran of timeouts, ran some plays that got us and scored. And I thought they were very, very well coached. And it's like I said when we beat Valpo at Valpo. Valpo's going to beat somebody. One of the top 4 teams that's in contention is going to lose at one of these 2 places, I think.
Well, I think so.
Any road win is good. Illinois, Chicago, a win there, I think I think we're +2 now, right? 2 road wins.
Well, and that's exactly how you have to look at it.
2 road wins, no home losses. If
right.
You have a home loss, you go down. You, like you said, probably need to get penalized 2 points for a road loss. But so we've won those 2 games, and those are. I told people they'd ask me what's the toughest game this month, and that Illinois Chicago game kept standing out to me, just because where it fell.
Yep.
And we got a big ESPN 2 game, I guess, coming in on Sunday. Watched Bradley and Belmont last night before that game. That dude down there that Belmont's got's pretty good.
Yeah, that was a little bit of a track meet there. That was a fun watch.
Yeah, I think he was like 7 or 9 for 13 or 7 for 11 or something for 3. And he's going to be an issue down the road. But it's. I tell you one thing, it's fun. I keep saying it. Boy, this league's fun. It's hard. Fun.
You look at what's shaping up. And obviously we're still early, but Illinois State, Northern Iowa, Belmont, Bradley, it's pretty clear right now that all of these teams could remain at the top. And we already know what a tough out we believe Southern Illinois is going to be, especially going to Carbondale. They're off to a 1-3 start, but they've played all of their games against the top half of the league so far. So that's
but before our game, the big guy that plays for him, I think maybe I don't know how you pronounce his name, big center, Felipe, whatever. Might be 2 brothers, I don't know. But he hadn't played the 2 games before.
Right.
And he's a pretty good factor on their team.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's going to want to go to Carbondale and be comfortable. And of course, as we've talked about, the thing about the league race, if you're trying to be the regular season champion, let's project that maybe 16 wins the league, 16 or 17. That might be aggressive, but we'll see. But what that requires, as Lindy mentioned a while ago, in terms of your pluses and minuses, the kind of the amplifiers on home and road losses or home and road wins. If you think about defending home court every time, you'd like to win them all. You'd like to go 10-0 in league play. If you can go 500 on the road, that gets you to 15.
That's right.
And I do think it's doable for these better teams to approach 15, 16, maybe 17 wins. If somebody wins 17 in the league, though, Lindy, they're going to have done a heck of a job. And that means going to Illinois, Chicago and winning, going to Valpo and winning. And it appears the guys understand this, but I don't care what the records on the other side are, where they are in the standings. If you're trying to win the league championship, you don't get nights off.
No. Not at all. No nights off. It's never been that. Well, back in the old OVC, you might have a night off.
There were a few nights off. Okay.
Nights off there for the fans and everybody else. But, there's no nights off in this league. Even Evansville, I mean, you look at them and they get waxed last night on the road. But I think, didn't they play somebody, Belmont or somebody, a game down to the wire here recently?
Well, and Lindy, that's going to be the thing. I mean, if you go to Evansville and you're asleep, that's going to be the ultimate trap game.
Yeah. And I think one of the top 4 or 5, and I think you're right. I think it's Murray State. Illinois State has they've made a charge. They're back looking like maybe they are one of the favorites. I wasn't giving them that much credit 2 or 3 weeks ago, but it looks like they are there now. And then you've got, of course, Northern Iowa just keeps winning too. And then, like you said, Bradley, Belmont, and I think that's pretty much the 5. And then you're going to have Illinois, Chicago, Indiana State and Drake maybe playing a spoils role somewhere along the line, knocking somebody off. But you got to take care of Valpo and Evansville down there. You've got to win those 2 games for sure.
Lindy, I mentioned the 3 and freeze over the 4 conference games, which again, the Racers have won all of those. I'll go back over those numbers real quick. 43-33 over UIC, 46-21 against SIU, 41-31 against Valpo, 53-26 over Drake. Now, in Missouri Valley play, and we know what conference play does to tempo. We know, obviously, what you're facing in terms of intensity, of execution, of scout, trying to take things away from your opponents that you've really gone to work on. In Missouri Valley play, the Racers are 33 of 95. So percentage down a little bit, attempts down a little bit. And that's something overall possessions. Last night, as much of a grinder as it was, as well as UIC played defensively at times, the Racers did score 1.14 per possession. That is a terrific number, especially in league play. To give you an idea that it is pretty good, the day that they scored 115 against Akron, they were at 1.20. So not that far from that level of efficiency. But the difference, Lindy, 95 possessions in the game against Akron, 71 against UIC. And when I look at the teams that would concern me most, Belmont obviously is very potent. There's a lot of offensive weaponry there, but I think Belmont will want to go. I think they feel good about who they are, and they're going to flow and go on offense. Bradley is not quite the same pound and just sort of half-court team. They kind of went with Belmont last night. We'll see what they choose to do. But Illinois State and Northern Iowa in particular, if I'm coming in to play Murray, especially on the road, but if they're coming into my building, I want a game in the 60s. Right. I want to be incredibly patient. I want to eliminate all transition. I don't want the game in the upper 70s into the 80s. And so possession count, since that 95 against Akron, you're talking about against Drake, it was 77. Against Valpo, it was 82. Against SIU, it was 80. It was 71 last night. I think the Racers got to be really careful. And it takes 2 to tango in terms of going really fast. But sometimes the only way to up that tempo is to guard them for 94 feet, push them with your defensive pressure. We talk a lot about the depth and how many guys they play. I say put that to work and make this game go.
Yeah, it looked like they went to that a little bit in the second half, didn't you think? They kind of
they did, yes.
More than they did in the first half. It'd been interesting to see the difference in the possessions from the first half and the second half last night. Yeah, we got to get it going up and down the floor. That's what this team's all about. Fortunately, we are, though, when it does kind of get down to a little bit of a grind, if we can get that ball to Big Fred underneath.
Lindy, I think that's why they're 4-0.
Yeah, I think so too. I agree totally.
Yeah, there's a diversity of the attack that I think is so important, because can they beat you making 12 threes? Absolutely. They've already shown the ability to win games when only making 6 here in conference play. That's a great sign. And that life raft that is the free throw line, you mentioned it, 19 of 22 last night. They made 16 free throws against SIU, 16 of 21, another good performance there. And, it's funny how we think about free throws, of course, because we tend to get more focused on the free throws missed at end of games. But as you mentioned about the one-on-ones, they're all opportunities.
All opportunities.
And they are doing a great job adding to their offense by being able to get to the foul line and convert. And, of course, for Fred, you mentioned the 2 big ones he made down the stretch. That's going to be enormous for him, because the ball is going to go through him. One of the interesting things I thought right at the end of the game last night, final free throw box out, we won the ball on a challenge, but Fred subbed out, and you knew Coach Miller was taking him out because of the free throw issue. They nearly get the rebound. I don't know if other people saw it, but there was a shot of Coach Miller coming back to the bench after he'd gone out to issue the appeal, and he says, "That's my fault."
Yeah.
because the big fella wasn't in there to rebound, but you certainly understand what he was thinking. And it's on Fred to make them, because you would want him on the floor if he could be in those situations.
That's exactly right. My buddy said, "Why wasn't Fred in the game?" And I said, "Because I was thinking about free throws. I promise you,
Right.
that's what we were thinking about was free throws. We had to make
Yeah.
the free throws." But Fred's slowly creeping his percentage up. I think he's in the
Yep.
mid-60s now, isn't he? I think
Well,
you
and
might
Lindy,
too.
the thing about it for Fred is he's just got to continue to do his work. He's got to follow his process, whatever they're doing in practice, and he's got to go shoot them with confidence, because he can't be afraid of the foul line. He's got to play the way that he's going to play, and he's got to understand, and at this point that he does, if he gets the ball deep, opposing posts have been told to send him to the foul line, because if he dunks it, it's 2.
Oh yeah.
So they're going to try to get to those arms before they get above his waist, and they're going to go make him knock in a couple of free throws. And that I think will be, especially when you get into these one-game situations. Maybe we're talking the tournament here, where you're trying to punch that dance card. He'll be put in that situation a lot, and that'll be good. I mean, that'll be good. If anything's going to prepare him for that pressure, being there again and again should do that.
It should. I think he hit a few against SIU too. Well, I mean, we're just hitting free throws down the stretch that are just so important. We got 3 or 4 guys I'm totally comfortable. Doman, when he steps at the free throw line, I almost think he's going to make every one now. He's got to be a pretty good streak from the free throw line. He's not missed very many. Lane Taylor, he steps up there to shoot those free throws. I think that was a 1-on-1 situation at that time. I'm not really for sure. I don't know if he got to the 10 foul yet. And
I don't think Lane even thinks about it.
I don't think he does either. And, he was kind of hit below he was a little bit under his game last night. But, man, again, he made big plays down the stretch. And Javon was a little bit, under not playing his normal game last night, but big plays down the stretch. That's the amazing thing. And I think Coach Miller has said that. It's just seems like every one of these guys end up making some kind of impact play during the game. It makes a difference. It's not just
one. I mean, on a night where Braden Shorter didn't shoot it well, he had the great cut. I think Roman with the assist, and Braden dunks it there.
Yeah, and I was really happy to see him hit that 3 that he did hit, and that was a good sign, because we got to get him on track. We got to get his percentage back up to where it was earlier. You've got to. But what I heard from the coaching staff is he is the number 1 hardest worker on the team. Extra time in the gym, whatever it is, he's the hardest worker on the team.
Well, the thing about shooting is, especially from deep, Lindy, it's going to fluctuate. I think typically when you see a guy that's a 38-40% three-point shooter, that's going to be based on runs where they go 15 of 30, but you may also have stretches where you shoot 6 of 25.
Tevin used to do that. If you remember Tevin, he would have streaks like that. So I expect him one of these nights, and it might even become, it might be Sunday afternoon, he's going to get on the road.
Well, for me, if you're a shooter, keep shooting them.
You keep shooting them. That's one thing I like about this group. They don't stop shooting them.
And don't you see a confident bunch, Lindy? Like last night when it was tough, it's possession. I certainly don't see any sort of fear or concern from them.
I did not see any panic at all. I mean, I saw a team that just looked like they were going to stick with what they're doing and win the game. That's a great quality to have, because we know what it's like to lose games in the last 5 minutes of ball games, and we're winning our share right now.
You and I had a conversation off air. I'm sure we addressed it eventually when we went back to work after they were down in the Caymans, but after the loss to Middle Tennessee, after they kind of got the life squeezed out of them in the first half against McNeese, we did a lot of talking off air. And I think we were in agreement then that what was happening to them then was incredibly necessary. We talked about the fact that if there was a conference championship to come, the seeds of it might have been planted down there in those losses. I think the record since then is pretty good, isn't it, my friend?
I think we're on a roll. I mean, I think I'm back on tweeting next. Been a long time since I've been tweeting next. I've been on a good roll here. I'm not going to stop. Yeah.
Well, and as we noted, you hope it certainly doesn't stop at home. I think the game on Sunday is critical. It's just really important because Bradley will bring a good squad into the CFSB, but I think whoever finishes in that, and maybe it's 10-0, but certainly in that 10-0, 9-1 range, all of our top seeds, I think, are going to defend their home floor.
I think they will too. I'm hopefully that we'll go in somewhere and knock one of them off. But yeah, I think so too. They all look pretty good right now. They really are playing well. I still think we've got the best team in the league, but we've got to prove it. We got to prove it on the floor. And Sunday is a huge game. It's an ESPN2 game. I hate that the students are not there. That's just always a bummer because that's always a big rowdy crowd when ESPN comes to town. But we'll just have to make up for it. Our season ticket holders and everybody's just going to have to be a little bit extra loud. I think the crowds have been pretty good. I've been pretty impressed with them earlier, and I think the word's catching on that they're, that it's a fun group to watch too. Not only are they winning, which we all know, like you said from the athletic director, that is the most. How about Indiana in football, real quick?
Holy cow, man!
Holy cow! I mean, I picked them in the ledger. I picked Indiana to win the game, but I don't think I'd ever picked them by that margin. But
hey, that was varsity JV yesterday.
We just need to let Paul Feinbaum just pick the playoffs, right? I mean, he's such an expert. He knows how great the SEC is. They're just right on the borderline of becoming NFL. But yeah, they hadn't had Georgia playing Ole Miss. They might be out right now. They made sure they got one in there, didn't they?
That's right. That's right.
Georgia plays Ole Miss. But anyway,
that's how you do it. You stack the field.
Every year I enjoy the SEC getting beaten bowl games.
Yeah, they have gotten quite a bit of humble pie here of late.
Yeah, I'm happy for that.
Big servings, but yes, winning it just builds, and I think it's always when the students do come back and you're deep enough in conference play, who your club is established. I would expect that those late January, February home crowds will begin to really swell.
Yeah, that's what I'm expecting too. That's the way it's always been. We always know the students disappear for the whole month of December and half of January. Pretty much, you don't have them available. So it takes for them to come back, and if you're winning, then they're automatically engaged. They're going to come back to a winning program, and that's going to help a lot. And I imagine we'll probably get another nationally televised game. I'm sure one of them will pop up. But yeah, the momentum's going really well. I mean, I was really happy. We didn't talk about it much, but the SIU game the other night was a huge game, huge win. JJ played a fabulous game, hit some big shots. Again, Taylor makes big plays, down the stretch in that game. He hits a three, and then he gets takes it to the basket. And, the other night he came out of nowhere and got an offensive rebound against Valpo. But that, I told you about the rivalry games, and SIU is just a game I love to win because it's covered in a region. And that was a big win. But lots of momentum going into 2026, the new year. I spoke with Nico, I guess it was yesterday or day before. He was with some donors doing his job, which he's done such a great job of, and talking about all the stuff that was fixing to happen. That all the stuff that we've been talking about, people are going to start seeing it.
Right.
It's going to start being visual. The improvements to the baseball field are going to start being visual. You're going to start actually seeing it. And then as soon as the season's over, the whole renovation of that arena is going to start, and people are going to start seeing it. And I think the results on the floor, and talking about future NIL for certain sports, including the lady racers. I'm sorry, Travis, lady racers. I call them the lady racers. It's just,
hey, we have to be able to differentiate here.
Say racers. Looked like the lady racers was going to have a good little, I think sufficient if to do well, and baseball team was going to have some money available to them, and the men's basketball program, he still is approaching it as Western Kentucky's professional team, just like me and you talked about in 2008 or 9. That really what we had here was a basketball franchise,
right?
And and we do. It is Western Kentucky's professional franchise, And it sounds like that it's going to be funded. He continues to think big. I mean, thanks
Well,
big.
and Lindy, that we're just seeing it all over, and we've talked about it a lot. That's going to be the path forward, at least in the near term, for all of college athletics. Is you're going to have to invest, or you're going to suffer. I mean, it's not going to be a situation where just being smart is going to be enough. You are going to have to invest, and of course, the things that we want to continue to build and to coalesce together, and you just think about what has happened here in a very close timeline. The women win a share of the Missouri Valley regular season title last year. Then they go to Evansville and just power through the tournament, going to the NCAA tournament. You go, oh my goodness, that's incredible. What could top that? Well, Dan Skirk in baseball said, we got something for you here. We're going to go all the way to baseball's Final 8, but Final 4 equivalency. We're going to go to Omaha. How about that? And just the momentum that built off that, as I'm sure Dan would tell us if he was here, it has been program changing, literally and physically. Now, as you mentioned, it's going to be program changing for baseball. Now we flip over, and the men, the program that has always been the signature program, the cash cow, it is playing at a high level. It looks like it's got potential championship legs here. Hopefully the women are going to be in position to compete for that again. I mean, you want to talk about even more momentum. How about a pair of Missouri Valley championships at the same time?
Right. Oh, that's
and
really
then, and then no pressure, Dan, go do it again in baseball. But again, these are the things, just like we talked about with Indiana football. Hey, these are the things that drive it, because we are how we are as a society. We love to win. We want to be out front. It's easy to build that momentum and get that support. So these are incredibly exciting times. And it's nice to know that we are in a place where the investment into athletics is going to be there.
Yeah, and the priorities there. And the good thing is that the investments that the programs are being put into, the coaches that are coaching those programs will take full effect of it. They're all, Rochelle is one of the best coaches I think anywhere. I mean, I think the ladies started calling her girl, the girl, but
Hey, she loved that.
I know, that's just why I am like, hey girl, I don't know, but anyway, I think she's one of the best there is. I really do. I've always said that. And then you got Dan, proofs in the pudding what he's been able to do, and then you got Ryan, who's off to a really tremendous start and a lot of confidence. And so you just feel like the money is going to be invested and you're going to get results from it. And those results mean so much to this community. I mean, the economic impact of the Missouri Valley Conference tournament being played at Murray State, there's no telling how much money will be spent in Callaway County and Western Kentucky during that time period. And then you've got just the economic impact of a home basketball game, what's involved there. And then just the care public to the university gets out of it. And then, so you've got all those factors involved. And that's why it's important that, like you said, you're either in or you're out. Well, we got to be in.
Right. We certainly want to be.
We want to be. I mean, we're going to have to try to be anyway. And so, yeah, but exciting time, exciting times. I'm anxious to see all the improvements happen, but it's going to be pretty neat.
Lindy, a couple of things before we go. Going to set the stage for what we've got coming up. I have Lindy's all 60s team as part of the Suitor 60. We're going to be talking about the great memories that he has as a Racer basketball fan and all of the great players that he has watched. And we felt like the fairest way and most accurate way to do that was present you guys from their era. I've got his list. We have worked through some special numbers. Lindy had already compiled, things that these guys had done in terms of being honored as all OVC or player of the year, things of that, trips to the NCAA tournament. But I've got the statistical package built on all of his guys from the 60s. And man, it's some impressive stuff. The thing that's going to be most fun, of course, is to hear your memories. I want to know how Lindy saw it as a kid, learning to love the racers. But there's some really great stories to tell. I'll just offer this one teaser about how good Claude Verdon was. Lindy, he had 275 field goals in 68-69. That's number 2 all time. That's the second highest total field goal season in racer history in his career. And remember, folks, these guys were playing 3 varsity seasons at the time. Claude in his career, 1,490 points at 21 points a game and 778 rebounds at 11 a game. Lindy, a guy gets 21 and 11. That's an All-American level of performance. And I know he is ranked very highly in the decade for you and all time amongst racers. But you start to talk about some of those numbers. By the way, he was getting 11 rebounds a night at 6'6". That's an incredible career.
Without the 3-point shot. And believe me,
right.
Shots were jump shots. They weren't dunks. I mean, he was one of the better shooters too, man. He could fill it up from 3-point range over that corner. Yeah, he was a star. He was an All-American, and he got drafted. He went to the ABA. If you do the math on, he went to the Kentucky Colonels, and he ended up hurting his knee. And as we all know, knee injuries back in me personally, I know knee injuries back then were career. It was it. It was career ending. You didn't have bouncing back and all the rehabs. Because, like I said, I personally experienced it myself my senior year in high school. So I know, but Claude Verdon was a really good player. In fact, he's the first great player that I remember. And Les Taylor might have just overshadowed him a little bit, but those 2 guys right there, and throw Dick, we'll talk about him, but you can throw Dick Cunningham into the mix too when you look at his stats and 10-year NBA career. And there's legitimate reasons why those numbers are to be in the rafters.
Right. Yeah. Well, we'll make that case.
But yeah, anybody wants to do a little Google search, just Google Claude Verdon real quick.
So we'll get to that. In fact, probably the next episode we'll look back on Bradley, certainly what happens on Sunday, but we're going to reveal the 1960s group from the Suitor 60, and we'll give you some numbers. Obviously, we'll have Lindy share his personal recollection of those players. That'll be a lot of fun. Also, in the next few weeks, Lindy's going to be firming up our visit with Coach Mark Gottfried. We look forward to having Coach Gottfried with us. That'll be a lot of fun. Another set of recollections there from his time here at Murray. So hopefully a lot of great stuff for you coming up. And Lindy, one thing is we have crossed over into the new year, I wanted to share with our audience, and we may talk about some of these and pull some information on this from back in the past. But Justin Holland, who is a member of our statistics crew at Murray State home games, he and I were talking the other day as the new year was ringing in. I think he was asking me if I would make it to midnight. The answer to that was no. But he said, would you make it to midnight for Racer basketball? He said, we need to play a midnight game on New Year's Eve. And I said, well, as a matter of fact, we used to do that sort of thing in Murray, Kentucky. And Lindy, my recollections of it was from the 1980s when I was a kid. But I looked it up, and the last time it appears that it happened was at December 31st, 1991, tipping at 11:30, crossing into 1992 against Arkansas State. But that's cool stuff.
We get beat. There's something about the game I remember that I don't think Popeye and them, I don't think they felt too good that next. I don't think they.
I'd have to look it up. I don't remember the outcome.
About that, I remember that we didn't play very well, and we looked like we might have had a good night the night before, but I'm not really for sure. I'd have to look that up. I think I remember that. But the midnight basketball that we're referring to was when Jim Delaney was the commissioner of course, everybody knows Jim Delaney, later Big Ten commissioner, very well known, but he was doing all he could do to get the OVC publicity, and so he struck the deal with ESPN to roll into Murray. I've got them on video. I've got those midnight games that you're talking about. I got 1 or 2 of them. But yeah, that was kind of a neat experience because you knew it was going to be on ESPN too. So It wasn't just a midnight game. It was the way that the OVC could actually get on ESPN, and it was actually a pretty neat deal.
Yeah, it was, and I think it still would be. I don't know if Lindy and I would make it, but for the young folks,
I'd
maybe
make it
not.
for basketball. I'd have to get on the swing shift.
Lindy
So
at the trash can at 1 a.m.
racer insomnia gets me, and I'm up anyway. So
Yeah. Well, we'll see what happens on Sunday, and we'll come back and reflect on that. But we hope you guys will join us for the stuff we've got going forward, because we're going to enjoy going through racer history and tapping all these years that Lindy has spent as a fan, and looking forward to having Coach Godfrey on the show, certainly in the weeks to come. My friend, Happy New Year one more time. We'll let you guys get back to work there. There are phones that need to be answered clearly at Suter Insurance Group. But as we close, as always, you get the signature sign off.
Go Racers.